we're headed to dinner. But Priscilla told me that a nonverbal
It was just an alert that came up on my phone.
an alert came up on her phone that a nonverbal autistic male in Georgia was tased 6 times. That's what the alert said, and that's the body cam footage that was released to the news, and that makes me mad. It's a training thing more than it is an officer thing, more than it is any. There's just I think we need to unpack that. Like, that's a whole.
Yeah.
We'll come back to this. We'll link it so you understand. I don't want to show the video. It's disturbing. I want to put that out there. Like, it'll hurt your heart, but
So within 10 seconds though, I can see that he's stimming. Like,
right.
he wasn't like attacking anyone. He didn't show any type of like no anger. He's nonverbal.
And I pictured Abby in that situation. I totally understood, like, when the officer's telling him, like,
To get
calm down, get down, drop whatever he had in his hand. All of those commands are not going to work. Like, they're not going to, when he's attacked by the officers, when they're trying to detain him, he's going to view it as an attack, and he's going to respond accordingly, and really not even violently, just with resistance.
Right.
And like, everything he did made sense, but we'll need to unpack that later. You're a little feisty, Mom says.
Yeah.
Lock the door, okay?
I have to go get your hair ties.
Did she go for a swim earlier?
No.
Oh, okay.
But we don't want her to.
Right, understood.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna get hair ties and deodorant.
I need deodorant.
Okay.
I don't need hair
Everything's
ties. Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. Got it. Secured. No swimming. Where's your iPad and stuff? Do you want to talk about your day? Why don't you go get your iPad, then we can talk about it. Can we use one of those hair ties that you just got for this dude? Oh, boy.
That's what they had.
Cool. You okay? Was that terrible? Just went through that. She's actually really good at it. Like,
Yeah.
she's done it enough. She does it every allergy season, so
What are you
she's
doing?
actually really good. Are you thirsty? I don't know how you'd be thirsty with all that saline water flowing through your system. It's the worst, isn't it? That's not. I'm pretty sure there's YouTube channels that do like neti pots and stuff. They ain't gonna get to see that on here. That's nasty.
No, it's so
But I mean, she does it. She'll lean over and like turn her head for you and stuff. She only tolerates it for short bursts though, because it sucks.
Does make her feel so much better?
Well, it does. I think that's why she likes it. What's up?
Yeah.
You tired? This is a new tired thing that we do. I don't know why. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm not laughing at you. You ready for bed? Come on, let's go.
I love you.
Aw.
Thanks.
Why don't you go get in bed? We gotta talk about grown folk stuff. Go ahead. And like, it's not the meds. I mean, she takes the same meds that she does, like the nights where she's like, I ain't going to bed, not happening. And tonight,
Yeah.
same meds. That's so crazy. She just gets I think she just gets exhausted. She'll do like a couple nights of really good sleep and a couple nights of not so good sleep, and she gets so tired. Kind of weird. So we thought about how to talk about it. So I want to preface this with this is a point of view from parents.
Right.
Like, we're gonna see our kid in that man, and we're going to have our point of view on things and our experience, in the autism community and things like that to take into consideration. I think, so if you watch a video, we thought about how to do this. Like, should we comment on it as we play parts of it and stuff like that? And, very Philip DeFranco. And I was like, I don't want to show it, honestly. If you need to see it for reference, you're welcome to do so. Fair warning. It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
But it is definitely something that needs to be discussed, and I think further discussion needs to happen about it because there's a lot of things going on there in the 7 minutes it took from their initial interaction to when they finally got him in handcuffs and in the situation. And then some of the public's reaction to it has been
just as heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I want to also say that we are by no means like against police officers. We need to make sure that's clear.
Right, like in general.
Yeah. Like
or anyone for that matter. I mean, it's not a, it's
right.
not a this is an education thing.
Right. And that's what needs to really, that's what we're hoping to help with is we're going to go to our local police department. We've already reached out to someone we know personally to see how can we, with a platform like we have, help the community. Right. How can we help make sure this doesn't happen in our community? And so I challenge you to go to your local police officers and see how you can help. Because I think the biggest thing is educating people. Mm-hmm. We all know that autism does not look the same for everyone. And obviously there's no way for a police officer to pull up to a scene and know immediately. But I can tell you that as a mother, there's no look to autism, but I could tell that young man was stimming with the spoon when he was approached. And I personally did not feel that he looked threatening at all. Mm-hmm. Again, I was not in the situation. I don't want to take that away from anyone. But from what I could see on camera, it didn't look like that.
Yeah, so he had a ladle. He had like a kitchen spoon.
Right.
In his hand. And that, I started tearing up when I heard that too, because we know a young lady mm-hmm. who, that's her preferred stimming item is kitchen utensils, which is just ironic, but, or just coincidental. But, so the officers, from what I saw, they handled it to the best of their ability. And what I mean by that is they followed through with what appeared to be their training.
Correct.
Telling them, we're going to help you. We're just get on the ground and we're going to help you. Immediately my first thought was like, he doesn't know what get on the ground means.
Right.
Abigail wouldn't know she would know what sit down means, but she wouldn't know what get on the ground means. She wouldn't know what these, and then is it up to the parents to teach their children to respond to a certain way?
But then what if a different police officer said something different? Like we
right.
all know, if you're dealing with a nonverbal person, a lot of times less words is more.
Yeah.
And we also have to take into consideration there are police lights going off, sirens going off.
People yelling at you.
People screaming between the police officers and people in the background.
Mm-hmm. In an unfamiliar environment.
Right. But the other problem that I saw with the video or that I heard is that people are yelling, he has mental health, he has mental health.
Cat, laundry basket.
That he has mental health problems. Autism is not mental health. And so then I was talking with Asa and I said, as a police officer, that could mean a lot of things as well. So they're hearing mental health, not autism, right? So maybe that's making them respond in a certain way, because mental health could be someone trying to intentionally hurt you or themselves, or you just don't know. So I think that we need to make sure we educate our community in understanding that autism is not mental health. It is a neurological disorder.
The mother had said, hire an educated person that's trained to deal with people with special needs.
Right.
And that could be, and like Priscilla talked about, if we can get in contact with the training officer here locally, mm-hmm. We'd be more than willing to work with them. Well, and then have other parents also work with them so that they can see a variety. Abigail's not super threatening looking, but one of our friends, like their son is huge. He's a huge guy, grown man.
But I mean, what if Abigail got older and she wasn't responding correctly, and or appropriately, right, to their commands to her, and they thought she was on drugs or something like that, like, then that could also be a threat to a police officer. I mean, you just never know. But I think that the biggest takeaway from this is that we as a community need to help our officers get that education.
Yeah.
The other thing is who called and what did they call about? You know, from what I read, it said that they were calling about someone being in the middle of traffic, you know, so we just don't know, like, what were they? I don't know all the police signs and stuff like that. I can tell you from, you know, we saw him from the time the police officer got out of the car and made that initial contact with him. Like, I didn't ever see any kind of threatening. But again, I wasn't in that police officer's position.
Sure.
So I don't want to take away his feelings either and how he felt in that moment.
I hate that people are blaming their caregivers in the family.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. Like, that's, you know, things happen, and I mean,
this isn't a 2-year-old walking around
right
in the middle of the street.
Things happen. You don't know the situation at home. You don't know, you know, somebody just forgot to lock a door, or you know, he slipped out without being noticed. Like, those things happen in real life, you know. It just happens, and it's not like, don't blame the mom or the sister or whatever when, you know, when they're having to go through this already. You know, the sister watching her brother getting tased multiple times, you know, on the ground, being wrestled by officers and stuff like that. That's not the thing. This is not a good human thing to do. But we saw a lot in the comments about, or enough in the comments about mental health and mental health issues and mental health and mental health. And that just goes to show you how much education really is needed, not just in our police force, but in our community, you know, around autism. You know, generally speaking, autistic individuals are not violent.
Right.
They're not a threat at all. And that's, you know, one person commented that, you know, that the family should be charged because a person with mental health was allowed to roam in public. Like, shouldn't be out in public. And that's just, you know, that education needs to be there. So that makes you wonder, how much education does that same mentality that society has flow over into our law enforcement, into our first responders? And, you know, how much of that ignorance do we have throughout? So how much more education do we really need? You know?
Well, and then I don't know at what point in the video, but, you know, we watched a lot of it, and then you can hear the family members saying, you know, he's autistic. And the police officers are actually responding with, we know.
Yeah.
That bothered me. Because at that point, I'm like, then why are you still tasing him?
Well, and I can tell you why. The police chief, I believe he's a chief. Let me see. That's why I was looking down so much. He says, I commend the officers. Yeah, the Glenn County Police Chief says, I commend the officers for using less lethal force and their ability to read the terrain as the event unfolded, preventing loss of life or serious injury to anyone involved. So that just goes back to the department, not the officers, but the department and the training that's there. Mm-hmm. You know, you gotta love a guy that supports his people, but
I can tell you,
I would 100%, like, in that position, as a police chief, I would have to say, you know, what went wrong? Where's my training lacking? That this is what occurred. That a autistic man was tased that many times to no effect. I mean, the tasers.
Yeah, but
I didn't take him down.
But you could be. I mean, getting tased that many times could kill someone.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have happened. The other thing is, you know, stop tasing him. Like, once you know he's autistic, if they need to be trained in how to de-escalate the situation. PCM training even, you know, a lot of people are against that, but preventive crisis management is real. Mm-hmm. And our police officers should be able to, and I can assure you, no PCM person that's officially trained would ever tase anyone.
No. In that situation, that would be a crisis. The young man is walking around in traffic. That's a crisis.
Right. But they are trained to initially try to talk them down, basically, and then, if needed, use force.
So this is the mindset of professionals in the community. This lady, Caulfield is her last name, of LSF Health, said mental health clinicians who respond with law enforcement are the best option to help identify if someone may have a mental health issue and calm the situation.
But again,
the clinician offers hope, offers a reassuring voice, and various clinical interventions to help that person feel safe. But this is not like doesn't even relate to the case.
Right.
You know, this was someone that was potentially interviewed by the news channel about it. You know, about mental health and how they deal with people that have mental health issues. You know, with the police, and it's does not apply. You know, unless your person is an ABA therapist,
right?
That does not apply.
So I guess my other question would be, is it the community that this, you know, this is not a large city. Right. It would be considered more rural, don't you think, of where this area is maybe? And so there isn't as much education or as many opportunities to come in contact with individuals with autism necessarily. Yeah. It could
you have smaller organizations, you have smaller, and so you have lesser resources for training, basically. Seeing how you have someone from an LSF saying mental health when talking about autism, I mean, that blows my mind. Yeah.
So, it's so hard, you guys. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I feel terrible for the man, obviously, and for his family. That for these people that kind of thank God he's okay. You know, I mean, how much damage it did to him psychologically, I don't know. You know, I don't know that we'll ever know. But
will that be a trigger for him from now on?
He probably won't respond well to police officers, but I can't imagine he would. But it sucks that these things kind of things have to happen for us to take notice on things sometimes, and we're just as guilty at that. You know, so we're looking around like we don't want that to happen here. You know, and honestly, like Glenn County's not that far away. Like we could go up there too, and we'd be more than willing to, and not in a manner like you guys did wrong, and we're parents. Like we want to help. We want to help them to better understand these people that are in the community. Right. So, let us know your thoughts on it. You know, I don't want to. I'm pretty sure I'm right here. I don't think fingers need to be pointed at any one individual. You know, I think the lack of training is the biggest thing. Yeah, it is. The system as a whole. I don't want to point any fingers. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you whose fault it is. I think, like, but comment, let me know what you think about all of this and, what we could do as a community to fix this. This is not is not a thing where you don't need to be commenting on things. You don't need to be calling people up and that's not how these things are fixed. Like, it's not.
We need to come together as a community, as an autism community. You don't have to live in our area or this area. We want to come together and say, like, okay, what can we do to help? Yeah. We need to help. And, help educate and help show, even if I don't know, I'm thinking of if we could put a video together of showing all the whole spectrum of autism and what someone may come across if they're out in the field or, I don't know. Because Abby...
That's what I was thinking about too. You had a collective of families with varying levels of autism and
stimming behaviors that might come off as a little odd to people or may feel threatened. I know Abigail, when she yells in public, that scares people
the crap out of people.
Or they think that she's being abducted. You've been
stopped in Walmart.
You've been stopped before by the manager at Walmart, and we were so thankful that someone cared enough to do that, because you would have thought that he was kidnapping her. Yeah. So
y'all, this is early smartphone too. I'm lucky I had photos in my phone.
Right. He was able to show photos of her and show that he was actually her father. So maybe something like that. I don't know if you guys have any ideas. Maybe you've already worked with your law enforcement and, first responders and you have ideas. So, or maybe you are a first responder. Maybe you are a police officer and you guys have a great program where you're at. Help us out, because we definitely want to be able to, help the community, help the autism community as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely invest some time into this.
Yeah.
For people, if you are a first responder, husband or wife to an officer or whatever, you yourself are, then reach out to us.
Obviously,
we
we're
will
not
gladly
experts in all of
know.
autism, but we know our daughter and we know a lot of kids on the spectrum that we could speak on.
Yeah.
So thank you for what you do. I can imagine doing that every day. As a police officer, as a caregiver, it gets harder the older that they get sometimes. And so it's super important not to stop advocating for your loved one. So we're here to help.
Yep. I don't know that we'll be the magic wand, but if we can make this less of an occurrence, then that's successful. I'd like to get rid of it altogether, but
let's use this platform as a positive resource,
right,
to help.
We have a community, and we can use that community for good rather than just watching YouTube videos.
Right.
So okay, this was Priscilla and I thought long and hard about what to say in this video. I think we might have stumbled over our words a little bit, but we just wanted to be genuine and put this out there. So don't get hung up if we said anything that you don't agree with, or don't get hung up on that. Please remember what this message is and what who matters here.
The big picture.
Yeah. So don't get caught in the details. All right. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye guys.